Hi, this is Tom and Mike, and we're here at the Kickapoo Bamboo Workshop, and we're going to be making agate stripping guides today. Okay, here's the materials we're going to use. All ready to go. And the first thing we're going to do is mount the stone in the ring. Then we're going to make the frame, and then we're going to assemble it all. All right, we have some nickel silver bar mounted in the lathe. It's slightly bigger than the stone itself. And we're going to go ahead and drill out the center to make the ring. So our ring is 390. So we have a 25/64 drill bit in there, which is 391, just barely over. And we're going to go ahead and drill that out. So now we're going to take the outside down. So we're going to double check the inside with a pin gauge. This is a 392 pin gauge, so it just barely fits, so we're good there. And 392, we want about an 8,000 wall thickness, so we're going to take the outside down to 408, so 408 thousandths. Water-based hand cream as lubricant. And we're going to take the outside down to 408. Right about there. So now we're going to part off the rings a little bit over 81 thousandths. We're going to shoot for about 100,000. So the rings will end up being about that thick to start with, and then we'll take them down later to the exact size. Just use the same 60-degree tool to part it off. Okay, 3 rings ready to be finished off. All right, now we're back at the bench, and we're going to take the burrs off and sand the ring to the correct thickness, which is about 80 thousandths. So we have 400 grit paper. Just lay the ring on there. I'm just going to hold it with my hand. Turn it once in a while. Sand it straight, flip it over. And we're shooting for 81. Again, the thickness of the stone, 81, 82. Real close. good. Well, there we have it. So now we're cleaning the ring off in isopropanol. And we're going to dry it off. Same with the stone. So I'm just going to put a little drop of super glue on the glass, and then I'll take the ring and kind of roll the edge in there. Let's go ahead and put it in the ring. Push it down flat. That's it. So now we're going to use a blind hole lap. These are from Agate. Buy them from Pen Tools, and they're expandable laps. We use them for lapping ferrules, but they're also great for doing this, for locking the ring into the lathe. So I got it expanded just slightly. We'll put a ring and an agate on there, and it goes almost to the end. Have a little protective piece of tape over it so that there's a little bit of a soft surface for the agate. And then we need something to hold the back end. So we're going to use this little spacer. It's just a nylon spacer you can get from the hardware store. As the back of at the back of the ring, and we're going to use a collet this time on the lathe. We're just going to push this in, not too tight, otherwise you'll crack the ring, but you do want it snug enough. And now what we're going to do is we're going to roll this edge so that it wraps around the stone, and we're using a little router bit, repurposed. It's one of those router bits that has the bead on it. So we've taken the bit off and put the bead back on, so it's a little roller tool. And we're just going to mount that in our tool holder. And we're going to put it at about a 45-degree angle. We have the edge rolled over nicely. Now we're going to just move the tool out of the way. And we're going to start with stick number 1 on the sanding sticks. And we're going to finish polishing it up on this side. We flip the ring over to the other side now, so we can roll what used to be the back side. finished up the polishing, and we should have a really nice looking ring at this point. All right, we're gonna make the frame now, and it's gonna look something like this when we're done. And we have our nickel silver wire, 18 gauge, half hard, and a couple of pieces cut here. And since we have a 10 millimeter agate stone, we're going to use the 10 millimeter side of our little jig here. Just 3 nails in a wooden block. And that's it. We'll do another one. All right, so we're just trimming the ends and bending these to shape. So we got the 2 sides of the frame and trimmed them and bent them a little bit so that they're symmetrical, and we'll go to soldering them together. So we have the feet mounted in a little hand vise here, and we're going to go ahead and solder the feet together. So we're going to just put a little flux down and a little piece of solder in the flux. Little flux on the tips of the feet. We flipped it around and we're doing the other side. We're going to just take the 220 grit sandpaper block and just flatten the feet a little bit before we bend the frame. So now we're going to bend this to about the same diameter as the ring, which is somewhere around here on this tapered mandrel. So we're going to take our soft jaw pliers So we got the stone in there nice and straight, right where we want it. And we cut some little pieces of solder and put them in a little puddle of flux here. So we're going to take a little piece of solder and try to drop it right in the joint. Oh, and I move the ring. You're just going to hit the edge of the wire there. You don't want to put too much heat on the stone and crack it. So now we're going to clean it for about 5 minutes in this Sparex acid pickling solution. So we're just going to drop it in, let it sit for 5 minutes. And we'll just rinse with water. and clean it off with denatured alcohol or isopropanol. Now we're going to shape the feet using 220 grit sanding block. Put a nice shape on it and taper down to a point so that it's easy to wrap. All right, and don't forget to do the bottom a little bit so that it sits flat. So we're going to use the sanding sticks to first polish the feet. You can use them to shape the feet just a little bit more. And we'll go through the progression of all 9 sticks. So the only thing left to do is polish it up. I hit it a little bit with a buffing wheel. And then we're going to put it in a little naphtha or mineral spirits.